Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm Katie from the Crystal Lake Public Library. And tonight we have very special guests with us. We have Sharon and Dan Peterson from Incredible Bats, their company, and their beautiful, beautiful animals. Here we have Miss Maxie, the skunk, saying hi to us right away. So I can't wait. I'm so excited. Quick note, everybody. I want everybody to know, share this with your friends. We want to make sure if we have any questions for Sharon, there's a Q&A button in your Zoom window. You're going to want to click on that and ask through the Q&A. If you're having trouble, just put it in the chat. We'll get to it. I'll make sure of it. And hello. All right. So, she's so cute. I'm going to hand it over to Sharon now because that's why we're here. So here we go. Thank you so much for being with us.
So we started, Katie, with bats, back in 1997. We started with our 96 actually. And we started with bats. And at first we didn't have bats. We just did talks, and then we got bats. About 3 years into doing our talks, we got bats, Egyptian fruit bats. And then about 8 years ago now, we got a first pair of African straw bats. We have 2 species of bats we're going to show you tonight. And then it's been about, I think it's 7 years now that we got our first skunk. Our first skunk looked just like Maxie. He was a black and white skunk, just like her. His name was Baxter. He was 4 years old when he passed away. Unfortunately, he had an internal problem that we didn't know about, that didn't, it tried to help him. But anyway, it happens with animals, unfortunately. So he passed. But right now we've got 4 skunks. So Maxie's one of our 4 skunks that we have. She's one of our little girls. We have 2 girls. We've got Bella and Maxie, and then we've got Bruno and Loki. And they're awesome. They're like my most favorite animal of all of them. Yes, you are. But anyway, so I'll tell you more about skunks a little bit, but we're going to talk about bats first. So I'm going to put her down. Go ahead, Maxie, go down there. Okay. So the reason why I got started in bats is because I saw a program at the Field Museum of Natural History, and it was called Masters of the Night. And this program talked about bats around the world, and it blew my mind. It just blew my mind when I went to this program. My daughter was with me. She was a Girl Scout at the time, and I was a Girl Scout leader. And I said to my daughter, we need to talk the troop into doing a show. So we did a show at the New Lenox Public Library, where my daughter was, we would just live there and go to school there. The program was a big success, and people said, we want to learn more about bats. And so that's where this whole thing started from. To become a bat expert, though, I had to not only attend a lot of lectures myself, read a lot of books, which I'm a school librarian, and your librarian should stop, Maxie. She's trying to get into the food. Anyway, but I read a ton of books on the subject too, but I felt like I really was needing more to be a bat expert. And so I needed some real life experiences. And so how do you go about getting that? Well, I found a group online called Bat Conservation International, and it was founded by a man named Dr. Merlin Tuttle. And so I said, I went to their website and I looked them up and everything else, and I found out that they did have a bat experience. They were training people on the conservation and management of bats. So I went to bat camp. I went out to Arizona. I spent a little over 10 days there doing bat research with them. I had to get a pre-exposure rabies vaccination and that, but flew out there. I had to pay for my own airfare, had to pay to be there, but that gave me room and board there and my lessons and stuff. And we actually went out and mist net trapped bats. Arizona, in the United States, the most diverse area to see bats is Arizona, because there are 26 species in that area alone. And you get the greatest diversity in the United States right there. Here in Illinois, we have 12 species of native bats. But in Arizona, there's 26 because you're in the desert area. So you have the desert, you have a riparian, a forested area too, and then you've got a little bit of the mountainous area too, because there's the Chiricahua mountain range there. So you get the great diversity. So I got to see pallid bats eat scorpions. I got to see nectar bats drinking nectar from cacti, and then of course insectivorous bats too. So I got a wide range. I got to actually trap them and pick them up out of the mist net and do all kinds of cool things. So it was a scientific experiment we were helping with while we were learning too. So anyway, so that's kind of where my credentials come from. I've also had the opportunity to rehabilitate some of our native bats, and although it's illegal to do that in Illinois, I was in Wisconsin at the time where it wasn't illegal, but it's illegal to do that in Illinois right now. But so I had a couple of experiences with that. So anyway, so let's talk about bats, all right? So the first thing that I think is the most important thing to know is the myths about bats. And we've all heard the expression blind as the bat. And so people say, without my glasses, someone's blind as a bat, right? And that's not true. Bats all can see. All bats can see, none are blind. Now I'm going to show you, if Dan can give me one of my bats now. I'm going to show you one of my bats. My bats have very large eyes. So in the bat family, there are two main groups. When you think about bats around the world, you're going to look at the globe itself. You know, think about all the continents we have. The only place you're not going to find bats the only place you're not going to find bats is in Antarctica. Anyway, because it's too cold. You know, there's like hardly anything there, right? Penguins. So anyway, but bats are found everywhere else. Okay, and the most diversity is going to be around the equator, where it's hot all the time. So South America, Central America area, and then of course Africa, and then some Indonesian parts of Indonesia, and then also Australia. So Upper Australia, when you get around that equator, you're going to have more diversity there. So, but the bats are broken into two groups. Microbats are found everywhere in the world except for Antarctica. Megabats are found only in the old world, which would be Africa, Asia, Indonesia, that area, and Australia. And I have a megabat here. So this is called, sorry, let me get off my hair. This is called an Egyptian fruit bat. And this bat is the only megabat that kind of goes between the two worlds of bats. So microbats use something called echolocation. This is the only megabat that does use that too. But you can see he's got these eyes. Okay, see the big eyes he's got there. All right, you can see his eyes there. And those big eyes allow him to see like an owl can see. So we're talking about not being blind. Well, these guys can see better than we can see. They can see like an owl can see. They've got these really large eyes. But because they do navigate in and out of a cave in the daytime, they're sleeping in a cave. So when they go into the cave, it's pitch black darkness. They have to navigate to get in there. They have to use the echolocation call to do that. And so they're the only one of our megabats that goes in caves. And because of that, it has a low level echolocation. So it does both things that the microbats do, and then the megabats with the big eyes. So anyway, but we won't hear it today. It's low level, but he'll only make that clicking sound when he's actually trying to navigate. And right now he's not going to do that. But so this is called an Egyptian fruit bat. And they're found in northern Africa, but they're also found around the southern coast of Africa too. And again, but they live in caves in the daytime. And this one's also a pollinator as well as a fruit eater. So they've got that long dog-like snout. They can get inside the flower to pollinate it. They have a long tongue too to get the nectar out. And then when the fruit develops, they will eat that ripened fruit, and the fruit will have tiny seeds sometimes. Those tiny seeds will go through their system, they'll drop them, and they'll cause the plant to regrow then. The seeds will get heated up, they'll drop it with their guano, and they'll cause reforestation. So bats, the megabats do two really key purposes for our world: pollination and reforestation, replanting those seeds. Not all the things that they eat will have tiny seeds, but a lot do. So that's what they do for that. And it's actually said that about 95% of the rainforest is repollinated because of bats. So they're very key, not only in the old world rainforests, but also in the new world rainforest as well. So bats are key pollinators and key seed dispersers as well. And that's something we didn't know about. It's becoming more and more, put it in the textbooks now, so kids are learning about it too. But for a long time, when I went to school, we didn't learn that at all, but they've been doing that all the time that they've been on this earth. So anyway, so this is called an Egyptian fruit bat. Now this is one of the smaller fruit bats in the megabat family. He's got about an 18-inch wingspan. And you can see this wing is actually, I know, hold your wing. This wing is actually an arm and a hand. So you can see there's a thumb here. See the thumb? I don't know if you can see the thumb right here. He's got a thumb. There you go. You see the thumb? Okay, see the thumb? And you see the 4 fingers?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Bones, right? And you can see his elbow up there too. And then right here, this is considered his wrist right there. Their wing is actually like a human arm. It's the same bone structure as a human arm. So it's a really fantastic thing about them. And they're a mammal. They're the only mammal that flies. So that's really cool about bats too. They have a lot of cool things about them, and that's one of it. They use their whole arm to fly with, and they are the only flying mammal. We've got animals that glide. I'm going to show you a glider today too, but this is the one that flies. So bats, none are blind. Another thing about bats is, you notice this, he's not doing anything. They don't attack people. They're not a vicious animal. They don't attack people at all. They don't want to be in your hair. If I put him in my hair, he'd fly off. He doesn't want to be in my hair. So bats don't want to do that either. That was another myth about that. Also, people think they're flying mice. They're not mice. They're not in the rodent family. Bats belong to a family called Chiroptera, and that means hand wing, and we saw that hand wing. Mice are in the family Rodentia, rodents. They're about we're going potty now. Hang on a second here.
Gotta go. You gotta go.
This particular species gets very excited when you get them out, and they can go potty, and a lot of animals do that. They're like, hang on. Okay, good. Okay. Anyway, so he went potty. But that's animals for you. I've had more animals go potty on me than I want to count. But anyway, so I was saying about them. Let's see here. Oh, their arm. Okay, so like I said, bats have true flight, and I was saying about their wings. I got hang on a second here. All right. No, what was I last saying here? Do you remember?
Oh my gosh, I was listening so intently.
I know. So all right, but we'll continue on. So anyway, so bats fly, but there are other animals that glide, but they're only
we're saying that they don't want to like attack your hair. They don't want to come.
So they're not blind. They don't attack you. There is, of course, the rabies factor. Okay, so bats can contract rabies. Rabies is a deadly virus. It's something you don't want to get. And so the big thing we always tell our people that come to see our shows: never handle any wild animal with your bare hands, and don't handle any animals if you don't have to. Sometimes an animal will be in distress and will need help, but if you don't know about wild animals, you shouldn't bother with that. You should call someone who does know. So calling the animal control, we have that in our state, and those are people who are trained to help animals, and a lot of times they'll help them and send them on their way. This is one of my bigger bats. This is called an African straw-colored fruit bat. And the Egyptian fruit bat has about an 18-inch wingspan. This one has almost a 2.5 to 3 foot wingspan. Okay, and you can see his wing there too. He's like his wing being held. I know. Stop.
He's like,
anyway. So rabies. If you're bitten by an animal, now I was recently bitten by a cat. I've got a feral population. I'm trying to trap and get them neutered and all that stuff, and it bit me. Well, it had its rabies vaccination just that day, and I've had my tetanus shot, so I just had to wash it and put an antibiotic lotion on it, and I'm monitoring it, and it's fine, so I'm okay. Plus, I've had my rabies vaccination before, so I'm good that way anyway. But always be really careful with any kind of wild animal. If you think they need help, sometimes they don't need help. Like baby bunnies, for instance, you don't want to ever bother with baby bunnies. You see a nest of baby bunnies, you leave them alone. Or even like a baby deer. Mother animals will sometimes leave their babies in a certain spot, whatever, and we should just leave them alone. Mothers are around, but they're not going to be by their baby during that time, and we should just leave them alone. But if you think they need help, get somebody who knows what they're doing to help them, not you. Okay. Anyway, so again, just to recap. They're not blind. They're not going to attack you. They can get rabies, but less than 1% of bats actually do contract rabies. So it's not like all bats have rabies. And they're not mice. Again, rodents, about 1,500 different species of rodents. There are about 1,400 different species of, or 1,300 different species of bats. So bats and rodents make up about half of all the mammal species, but they're two different groups. And stop nipping at me. You're okay. You're okay. This actually is not Togo. My husband thinks he got Togo. This is actually his son. Togo's a lot calmer. This is actually this is not Togo. This is let me think of his name. What's his name? Okay. Anyway, I forgot your name for a second there. This is his son, though, and his son gets a
Son of
little more
Togo, we
anxious.
call
So
him.
he's a little more nippy. We haven't taken him out as often as his daddy,
Look at
and
his
so he's
little,
a little
his
bit
little
more nippy.
smile.
But he's a beautiful little guy. You can see his face there. See his teeth there. He's got lots of teeth in his mouth,
Showing
and
us.
he does have that dog-like face. You can see how his face is like that. See, so
Oh,
he has a very long tongue, and again, he is a pollinator and also a seed disperser. But those sharp teeth allow him to break through the skin of like a mango, things that are hard skinned like that. He can break through the skin and get the fruit out then. Yeah. And this is a male. And so one of the things the males have, I can show you that there. You can kind of see with this chin, it's a little bit darker there, kind of rusty looking. And that is what a mature male will have. When he was first born, he didn't have that really bright color there. And but now it's becoming brighter and brighter because he's a mature male. So that means he can breed now. And so we have to keep him away from his little sister. We've got a mom, and we've got Tansy and her daughter Savannah, and we've got to keep him and Togo away because we don't want them indiscriminately breeding. So Tansy and Togo breed, but we don't let the pups breed because they're siblings, so we don't do that. So you have to have good animal husbandry when you have animals. You have to watch that kind of thing. But anyway, so other things that bats do for us around the world, let's do that real quick because there's so many good things that they do for us. So along with pollination and seed dispersal, that bats do for us are eating bugs. Now, this is not a bug eater. Again, this is a fruit eater, okay? But bug-eating bats are what live in our own backyard. So in Illinois, we have, okay, here's Daddy instead. Okay, you want to take
trading out.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
Zulu.
no.
Okay.
Everybody's got to get a little
Daddy's
fight.
a lot calmer. Yeah, here's Daddy. He's a lot calmer. But anyway, so with bugs, so the bats we have in Illinois, we've got 12 species in Illinois, and they're all bug eaters. And they can live by each other and actually pass by each other. They don't interact with each other, but they can pass by each other in territory because they eat different kinds of bugs. So not all bats eat mosquitoes. That's a kind of another myth there too. Oh, I want to put a bat house because they all eat. Some do. We have bats that are, they're called mouse-eared bats. Myotis is the Latin name for that. And they do eat mosquitoes. But the big brown bat, which is a very common bat in our area too, you get that in houses sometimes. They'll live in people's siding, or they'll live up in the chimney, or they'll live in the attic of people's houses. The big brown bat eats more beetles and moths. So while they're eating beetles and moths, a little brown bat can be flying right by them and eating mosquitoes, okay? So you've got different kinds of bats that live in Illinois, and they eat different kinds of bugs. And so they all work together. It's a harmonious thing that they do, where they take care of the bugs in that area then, because there's lots of different kinds of bugs. We know that bugs are very prolific when they lay eggs. So like one cutworm moth can lay 1,000 eggs on an ear of corn. That's a lot for one moth, a lot of offspring. And so bats are one of the animals, not just the only animal, but one of the animals that help to keep that population down. And the other thing about our ecosystems is there are night flying insects and there's daytime flying insects. So what do you think bats are going to be eating? The nighttime flying insects. What are birds going to eat? The daytime flying insects. So they work in harmony with each other, but butterflies are a daytime animal. Moths are the nighttime animal. And so bats can eat moths, and again, nighttime flying beetles and things like that, and mosquitoes. And there's even some mosquitoes that are flying on the daytime. And then you've got animals that will eat that. So like, the one bird, purple martins, right? And swallows, they'll eat the daytime flying mosquitoes. So there's always something that helps predate and keep down the population. And bats are part of the keeping down the nighttime population of bugs. So, but in our United States, we don't have just bug-eating bats. We've got about 45 different species in North America. We have a bat also that eats scorpions. The pallid bat eats scorpions. Oh, and then we have 2 nectar-drinking bats. So we've got a bat called the lesser long-nosed bat, and one's called a Mexican long-tongued bat. And those 2 bats that kind of look like him, but the big difference is this, okay? So they have kind of almost a dog-like face because they have to get that face inside of the flower of a cactus, for instance, like the saguaro cactus. But the thing that's different about them is they do echolocate because they live in a cave. And so their going to have something called a nose leaf on their nose. So whereas this bat does not have that, his nose just is like a, you know, normal animal nose, they're going to have this little thing that comes off the tip of their nose. Bats that have nose leaves echolocate through their noses. Bats that don't have it echolocate through their mouths. This one, of course, has those big eyes. He doesn't echolocate at all, okay? So when he's sleeping in the daytime, he's in a tree like birds, just hanging out in a tree in Africa. He's the second largest bat in Africa. And they make this particular bat species, the African straw-colored fruit bat, makes the largest mammal migration in Africa. So they fly to their breeding grounds, and they migrate across Africa. So they're a cool animal. You can see and learn more about the migration of them by watching episode 2 of One Strange Rock. It was called The Storm. And they talk about this particular bat, and actually he's in that video. National Grid, yep, they came to my home about 3 or 4 years ago now, and they filmed him and his wife and his daughter, and they're in that video. All the close-ups and cutaways are of my 3 bats. So anyway, so it talks about that migration in that video. But anyway, I go say in the deserts, they put their face into that flower, they drink that nectar out, and then they help pollinate the flower. So cactuses in the desert, like the saguaro, the pipe organ, the agave, which we get tequila from, all pollinated by bats. And then of course, a lot of other fruits like bananas, mangoes, papayas, other kinds of fruits, even things like, we like nuts, right? California, they grow almonds and all kinds of nuts for us in California. The bats are not pollinating those, but what they're doing is they're eating bugs that are harmful to those trees. So there's and in the United States alone, it's estimated they save us about $3.7 billion in pesticide usage on our crops, okay? So bats do so much good for us. They save us money on our pesticide usage. They eat so many bugs. There's a cave in Texas called Bracken Cave, and it's on my YouTube channel. If you go to my Incredible Bats YouTube channel, you can see our video about that. And it's the largest known colony of bats in the world. It's in north of San Antonio, Texas, called Bracken Cave. 10 million mother bats migrate there from Mexico in the summertime, and they each have 1 pup. There are 20 million bats then in that cave.
Oh my God.
Cave. And you can stand outside. If you're a member, you can go to Members Night of Bat Conservation International. They own it. You can stand outside there and watch them come out. We did that. We've got a video on our YouTube channel you can watch. It's really cool. It takes about 3 hours actually too. There's so many bats to come out.
Oh
but these bats will eat the equivalent weight of 22 Asian elephants and bugs every single night. That's a lot of bugs. Wow. So really, really cool. So anyway, yeah, there's just so much cool things about bats to talk about. Is there any questions that anyone in the audience has right now? Anyone who's here that they want to ask about bats?
Let me see here. We do have a question from Kathy. She said, who came to film the bats when you did that in your home?
Okay, so I got a call from a lady in England, Ruth Harries, and from Newtopia is the company that she called me from. They were the ones that filmed, and they ended up sending a young man from California to my home. They flew him into Chicago, and then there was a young man in Chicago who was who like became his helper, and that. And so yeah, they hired him because they're in England. They hired him to come to my home and do the filming. He was here for 3 nights, not just daytime, because we were filming at nighttime, right before school started. It was actually the like, it'd be like next weekend, so yeah, he came, and I was exhausted because I was up all night long with the filming. I had to be there, of course, because with the animals, I had to make sure that they weren't getting overtired and all that. And they turned my garage into a studio. Before that, we had to prep for it. They paid for all the figs, but we had to get my bats used to eating figs, because that wasn't something on their normal diet, because it's very expensive. A box of figs could be like $12 for a crate of a box of figs. Anyway, so they bought a bunch of figs for about a month. My bats were eating figs to get used to this. And then we set up the fig trees. We bought fig trees from a nursery and put that all in my garage too, with bunting and all that. It's really cool. You can't, when you watch the video, you cannot tell that they were in my garage filming. It's just amazing the magic they do. But it was a lot of fun. It was a really cool experience, yeah. But this was one of the stars there, Togo, right? Yeah.
Goodness. Good job, buddy. I bet.
Yeah, he was a good boy for that. Yeah, he's a good boy. He's one of my I handle him a lot, so he's
Yeah.
very used to this and stuff.
I
Yeah.
know you guys, the reason we found them from the library was quite a few of us employees were sent to the Reaching Forward conference last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you bring some of your bat friends with you.
I have. Yes, I have.
Yeah.
I brought them
Was
with me to
Togo
that.
with
Yeah.
you last year when you came?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
you know, what's funny
Yep.
because I was like there. I was trying to explain because I saw I visited with you guys and I gave him a little pat on the nose and I was like they're like little sky puppies. So it's fun to hear that they are more like dogs than they're not rodents. I love that.
No. And they're an animal that they don't really like. He would rather I'm not holding him, they're not really, but he's okay with it because I've held him so often, and he'll actually fall asleep. If I put him on me like this, he'll fall asleep on me sometimes, that he's used to being handled. And these were born in captivity. They've never been in the wild. A lot of people are like, oh, you're keeping him from flying around. No, he would be terrified to be in the night sky. They're just not used to that. That's not their norm. And so you can't, I don't let them fly out of my house because they would never come back. They would get lost and they would die. This is not the environment they're supposed to be in. They're supposed to be in Africa. But I've got a large flight cage in my garage. I can't take you into it because unfortunately I'll lose signal. But I've got a large flight cage in my garage, and that's all that's in my garage. We don't have cars in there and everything. It was built specifically for them. And then they've got their own lighting. I have UVB lighting there for them so they get some sunlight like they're supposed to. I skewer fruit for them. So I'm a chef every night. I'm a chef there. I'm making, I give them at least 7 to 8 different kinds of fruits every night. So these guys get cantaloupe, they get honeydew melon, watermelon on occasion. I skewer that for them. They get mango, papaya, figs when I can get them. I've been able to get figs for them. Also romaine lettuce. They love romaine lettuce. That's like the first thing they go to. They get the black grapes. That's a favorite kind of grape they like. Ambrosia apples. There's some apples they don't like. They like ambrosia. They're really sweet. They also get bananas. They get nectarines. They like the white nectarines. They're like really sweet. They're really good recently this year too. So what else do I give them here? I used to give them oranges, but I'm finding out that oranges have too much iron in them. And the vitamins, so you got to be really careful. You got to, like these animals, iron is something that you can build up a toxicity of, and vitamin C helps to bind it. And so I can't give them oranges anymore because it's too high in vitamin C. It can cause them to have toxicity in their liver. So there's a lot of stuff you've got to learn about these animals in order to feed them properly and manage them in that. But I've had him for 7 years now, and he's doing really good, aren't you? So anyway, but I've had 4 offspring with them too, mommy and daddy. I have only 2 right now because I've sold Zara, one of our females, to a friend of mine who has a male. He had 2 males and one passed away, so now he has a male and female now. So we help each other out. There's friends around the country that have these animals that we help each other out. Like if I needed an animal, they could help me, and so we do that with each other. So let's go from bats though, if we're ready, unless there's another question about bats.
No, that's it. Yeah, let's.
Okay, so Dan, you want to take it? We're gonna go from flying, only world's flying mammal. Okay, bats. Oh, I didn't talk about vampire bats. I'll just give you a real quick one about vampire bats. Vampire bats are 3 species. They live only in Latin America. And so that's going to be, Mexico, Central America, South America, and then the Caribbean islands. Vampire bats, the one bat that, when we think about vampire bats, the common vampire bat, Desmodus rotundus is its Latin name. That is the vampire bat that would drink the blood of mammals. The other 2, the white-legged or the white-winged vampire bat and the hairy-legged vampire bat, only drink the blood of birds. So they're not really in the conversation now. But the common vampire bat, anyway, they will drink the blood of mammals. And if a person is silly enough to lay out in the rainforest with no protection, which would be really silly because there's all kinds of things like anacondas and whatever else in the rainforest, you could get bitten by a vampire bat. But the thing is, with vampire bats, they have something in their saliva that is an enzyme. It's called desmodoplasm. They've isolated the enzyme. And that enzyme is being studied by scientists right now. It's in clinical trials to make a new blood thinner. So even vampire bats are useful to humans. So with seed dispersal, with regrowing the rainforest, with pollination, with eating lots and lots and lots of bugs, and now with this too, bats do so much for our environment. They're key to the survival of our planet. They're a key animal, and so learning about them, protecting them is really important. As far as COVID goes, I know there's been a lot of talk about bats and that. They haven't successfully made that link, and there's a lot of controversy about that. So let's not villainize bats until we know the true story.
Right.
And even if they are the ones that first had that virus, even if that's the case, it wouldn't have been a problem if people didn't go out in the forest, hunt them, and try eating them and handling them, you know? Right. So it's not their fault if that is the case. It's humans, you know, for bothering them and doing that stuff. So, you know, but I don't think it came from them myself personally, but, you know, we'll see. Time will tell. You know, we learn that. Right. All right. So flying animal, gliding animal. This is called a sugar glider. These are like cute factor to the nth degree. When I bring these out, when I do my live in-person shows, I get the oohs and ahs because they're just so cute. So this is a sugar glider. This is a marsupial from Australia. They actually are a type of possum, okay? So we know that possum, like we've got in North America, are North American Virginia opossum, and I have one to show you tonight too. This is a possum from Australia. Now, possums can climb trees. Our possums can climb trees, but these guys stay in the trees almost all the time. Like 99.9% of the time, they're in trees. So we call that arboreal. Animals that live in trees are arboreal, and this is an arboreal animal. Now, because it lives in trees, it has to have a way of locomotion, way of getting around, and getting around quickly to avoid predators and also catching prey too. This little girl, this is a female, she will eat sweet things. That's why they call them sugar gliders. She'll eat sweet things, like she'll pollinate. She likes nectar. She can eat also like the gum of the tree and that kind of thing, like underneath the bark. But
Everybody hold tight for a second. Zoom's got to catch up. We are frozen. Let's see here. Okay, we're just going to wait for a second. See if we, now it says that they're still connected to us, so let's see here. Sorry, everybody. Thanks for your patience. 1 second here. Oh no, did we lose them? Okay, just a minute, everybody. Let me see. Hang tight. Let me see if I can give Sharon a call here. Try. Best of times. It was the worst of times.
okay.
Oh, we got you back.
All right.
Oh, goodness. Okay. Oh, good. Okay, I was like, I'm going to try and give Sharon a call, but I'm not sure.
My internet connection is unstable.
Oh, no. Gotta love that.
Yes, I've been to call them. I'm having some problems, but right now it's working. So anyway, so I've got 3 actually, but this one is called Buttercup, and then I have Blossom and Bubbles, the Powerpuff Girls.
Oh, so that's still the sugar glider, right?
They're in a pouch here.
Oh, hi.
They love pouches. So they're just adorable here. But so this one is Bubbles. And then this one is Buttercup, and Blossom is somewhere else in the cage. My husband didn't realize she wasn't in there. So there's my 2 right there, but I've got 3 all together.
They have such beautiful eyes.
And they're soft. Their fur is really, really dense.
Oh.
So they're an omnivore in the sense that they'll even eat like eggs, and they can even eat lizards and things like that too. Whatever they can catch that's small enough, and that they're not going to go for something really big. But if they see like a small lizard, they can catch and eat that. And of course, any kind of bugs that they find too, if they want to eat. I feed them crickets and I feed them mealworms. They love them. And they'll fight. It's real funny. If I give one a mealworm, the others will try grabbing it from her and stuff like that. They're really cute that way. They're very funny. But that's my little sugar gliders in this little pouch here. Now I've got another type of possum. I'm going to get her out real fast here. Give me 1 second.
Sure.
And she is, let me see if I got her here. Okay. Right, here she comes. Come here. Okay. You want to look at Ollie then? All right, hang on. Come here. Okay. She is having, okay, come here, Ginger. Come here. Come on, we got people waiting. Come here, give me that tail. All right. She's all hands and tail here. So, okay, so this is called a woolly possum. And if I can get her to come around face-wise here. Come here.
I'm good. Is that her? Is that her making that little sound like a little cat?
Look, what'd you say?
Did she make that little noise? It almost sounded like a meow.
No, that was my cat. I have 3 cats. I've got a zoo here. Sorry. But no, this is a woolly possum. And you can see her face is very much like the sugar gliders. Come here. She wants to get on my back.
Like, no, I'm good.
All right, there's her face. Okay. So notice the really big eyes like the sugar gliders had, right? So again, nocturnal. When animals have really big eyes like that, they're nocturnal animals. She is very good at climbing. And the thing that makes she is just like the sugar gliders in the sense of she's a type of possum. She doesn't glide though, okay? She's bigger, so she doesn't glide. Her body's about 12 inches long when she's an adult, which she is. Her tail is 18 inches long, okay, 6 inches longer than her, and it's prehensile. The sugar gliders as well, their tail is prehensile. You can get in my head here now?
Oh my goodness, what a treat, everybody. Look at that.
And of course, she might go potty. I don't want her to potty in my head, so let's get her off my head right now. Come here, you silly girl.
Pros and cons.
Anyway, but just like the sugar gliders, very soft, dense fur. She's also like them. She loves to eat a variety of things. So she'll eat some fruits and nuts, but she loves bugs too. So her favorite right now are crickets as well. And so she goes crazy for them. But her feet, I want to show you the feet of this animal here, because this is, okay, so we can see her, now it's kind of hard to see her foot here. Hang on.
She's like, I don't think so.
I'm going to show you, let me put it through my camera here if I can get her on, okay, so we can show, if I can get it through here, hang on. All right, I'm gonna put my phone back like it was before.
She's coming around the other side. There she's so cute.
Yeah, she's climbing around me here. So this is from South America. And sorry, trying to get my phone back on its thing here. Okay, there we go. Let me turn it back on again here. Okay. Okay. And let me go back to my Zoom meeting. Hang on 1 second here on here. Okay, there we go.
Oh my gosh, she's like making a little nest in your hair. It's so cute. Look at her little face.
Okay. I'm trying to go back to the Zoom meeting here. Let's see here. So Zoom. Okay, there we go. All right, now, let me see if I can show you. So you've got my other video. We can put that up there. Okay. So we're gonna start okay, there it goes. The video's there. And I'm gonna turn it around.
Ooh, look at that.
Okay. And let me see if I can hear. Let me go. Okay. So here, okay. So she's very fine here. All right, let me show you her foot because I want you to see it close her foot here. Hang on there. Okay. Oh, she's being a rascal. She is. Hey, let me turn my screen around here. Maybe I can do that here.
Oh, she's back on your
screen around here. Okay.
Oh, she's so cute.
Okay. Yeah, she's cute. Okay, there's the foot. Okay. So if you can see the foot, it's like a hand. Okay. There's a thumb And then there's this little lumpy thing right there, and then there's the 4 toes. And she uses it just like a hand. She grips just like that, like a hand, okay? And the reason why is that when she is climbing down a tree, because they will go face first down a tree like a squirrel does too. And when they do that, they have to support their weight. And of course, what's at the top is going to be the one supporting it. So her feet are going to be just like hands. And that's the same thing with the sugar gliders. And that's the same thing with her. Their feet are actually a hand. Their front paws are like this, but the back have that opposable thumb, okay? They have that opposable thumb on the back. But in here, there's a thing that's a thickness that's called a grooming tool. And she can groom herself with her foot then. But you can see the cute little face of hers.
Oh, hello. Oh, my goodness. Hello.
And she's got lots of sharp teeth. She's really a cool animal, but she's arboreal. She spends all of her time in the trees too. She can jump and she can climb a electrical cord. So she's just little vines and everything else she can climb. She's a very good climber, and she just goes all over the place. So you can see that she just likes to go all over the place.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to put her away and take out Ollie now. So we're going to go from the marsupials in Australia. This is South American marsupial, this one here. And we're going to go to us right now, our North American marsupials. So let me get Ollie out here and put her back for a second here.
Bye, friend.
Go back in there so I can go on. Okay.
And remember, everybody, if you have questions, use that Q&A button at the bottom of your Zoom screen.
All right, now we've got Ollie.
Hi, Ollie.
Ollie's in here. Yeah, so Ollie is, you see Ollie's face here? So I bought this pod and he loves it. So this is a little pod, it zippers up, and there's Ollie inside the pod. And I'm gonna take him out now. This is he sleeps in this pod, he loves it. Oh. And half the time when he's in the pod, I can unzipper it. And half the time when he's in there and he's in his, we have a cage for him that he sleeps in overnight. He's laying on his back with it, head up. He's really funny. But
classic possum pose.
All right, let me get him out of the pod here. Come here. And he's also has a prehensile tail, and he uses it a lot. Come here, honey. Come here. Okay. So let me show you Ollie here. All right, come here. Oh, big boy. Come here. All right, so this is Ollie. Oh.
Excuse me. Ready to snuggle.
Ollie. And Ollie has a tail too, and this is a prehensile tail.
Big tail.
Has a little tiny little on the back of here. I don't see if you see a tail, probably a tail there. It's got this little tiny almost like a little finger there. Hang on here, the back of it. Yeah. There. Let me go back here. Okay, here we go. So you can see that was like a little fingertip on the back of it. See a little fingertip like thing.
Yeah.
Now, what does he do with this tail in the wild? Okay, so this is a North American marsupial. And just so you know, marsupials are mammals. There are 3 different kinds of mammals in the mammal family, Mammalia. There are placental mammals, like we are. Then there are marsupials, and then there are monotremes. Monotremes, there are 2 monotremes. That means they lay eggs. They actually physical eggs outside their body, and that would be the echidna, and the duck-billed platypus. Those are monotremes. Marsupials, when they first mate, they have inside their body are the babies in egg sacs. They're in egg sacs in the body with a yolk. And they're only in there for 13 days, typically 13, 14 days. When the yolk is spent, they're born, and then they have to go inside the mother's pouch to continue to develop. And that's what makes a marsupial different than a placental mammal, but they're all mammals, okay? Because when they come out of their mother, they have to suckle her milk, just like any mammal does. So that's what makes them a mammal. But anyway, all right, so possums, okay, can have 21 babies, but only 13 will survive because inside the mother's pouch, there are only 13 of these little tubes for the babies to attach to drink milk from. And you can see he's a really big guy. He's a year old, by the way. And yep, and he's a big boy. Another thing about possums is that they have the most teeth of any other mammal in North America. They've got 50 teeth in their mouth. And if you could see him, he's got, come here, look at the camera this way. Okay. Look this way here.
You're so pretty.
He's not holding still for me here. Okay. He's got his fangs. He's got 2 fangs that hang out his eye teeth. You can see the fangs there.
We see your
fang right there
fangs.
hanging out?
Oh, we see. Yep, got it. Good,
Yeah.
good view of those fangs.
And then here, let's turn your face this way.
He's like, no, I need to snuggle.
Look at this. Okay, let me put it this way so maybe we can see him this way here. Okay, hang on. All right, it's not going to work. Let me turn it this way here. Okay, sorry, I'm trying to get a better position on the camera.
Oh, that's no problem.
Face here. All right, come here. Come here.
We got to do what they want us to do.
You're fine.
Hey, baby.
You're fine. Calm down. Yeah, calm down. You're fine now. Okay, so now we got his face there.
Oh.
But anyway, it kind of reminds me of a panda a little bit, the way the face is, the eyes are, and it's really, where you're gonna go. And his ears, he's got little nudie ears there, and you can see his front paw. There are five toes on the front paw, but the back foot. Let me show you his back foot, because just like here, come here, the back foot here. Okay, so if you see the back foot, you can see that hand again.
Oh yeah, that's so funny. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see the thumb and the 4 fingers there. Now the cool thing about their tail, because I told you it's prehensile, possums don't hang by their tail though. That's a myth about them. When they're babies, they can for a few seconds, but for the most part, they don't hang by their tail. Let me put this down so we can see him better here. Let me go this way here. Trying to adjust my camera here.
Oh, worries.
Okay, come here. All right, hang on here. Sorry, I'm trying to.
You're all good.
Wrong way here. Okay. Just the camera is not working here. Let me see. I gotta get my camera to come down here. Down, no, wrong way. All right, here we go. Going down. There we go. All right, now. Oh, Ali, come here. He's trying to get down. Okay, there he is.
Make my escape. I gotta go.
Where are you going to go? All right, he needs to go down first. You need to go down the ground for some reason? What's the problem? All right. He wants to go down the ground here. Okay, you go down the ground there. Go ahead. But anyway, their tail, their tail they use to gather, instead of hanging from their tail, which they don't do, they use their tail for balance, but they also use their tail to gather things. So he can actually gather with his tail leaves. So in the wild, they would, they'd sit there, they would put leaves underneath their stomach, and then they would, here, you want to look at, smell this? Can I smell that for a minute? Come here. They would put leaves underneath their stomach, and then he's going to go back underneath there, I think. He goes underneath the one cage here. You can see him.
Oh, that's so funny.
That's his favorite place to stay. They love to go underneath things. So my skunks like to go underneath things too, like the den up,
Yeah.
But anyway, they gather leaves underneath their stomach, and then they'll push it back, gather them into their tail, and carry leaves in their tail back to their den. Oh. So you use their tail like an elephant would use their trunk to hold and gather things, okay? And that. If they can climb a tree, obviously, too, and they can use it to kind of hold on with, but they're not going to actually hang from it. They would dislocate their spine if they try doing it. They're too heavy. But when they're babies, they can do it for just a moment. Now, the prehensile tail. So all the opossums have a prehensile tail. And I've got another animal that has a prehensile tail, too. I'm going to show you one of my reptiles here. So I'm going to change my camera around for a second here. Let me get it back up here. All right, and we're going to go over to one of my cages here. And I'm going to show you an animal with a prehensile tail. Okay, and let's see here. I got to make it so it switches other side. Hang on a second. Camera, come on. Later, okay. There we go. All right. So this is a panther chameleon, okay? Ooh. And this chameleon is from Madagascar. And this is one of the more brightly colored types of chameleons. There's a lot of them out there, a lot of species of chameleons, but this one's very brightly colored. You can see he's got a lot of orange up here by his face and everything. And then what happens is when they get upset, the neck over here, this part puffs out and becomes really bright in color. Now this is his normal coloring. You see like there's a little bit of whiteness here, but a lot of green and everything on him. But you see some little orange spots. If he gets excited or upset, he's going to become very brightly colored. He's going to, show it. He's kind of got a little bit of more red coming up here right now. But if he sees another chameleon or he just gets excited about something else, he'll become very, very bright in color. He'll puff his chin out and that kind of thing. But we can see that prehensile tail, how he wraps it around. He's got a lot of muscle and control of this tail here, and he anchors it onto things when he does that. And he also, when he sleeps, he curls it up in that. But and then these guys, of course, are being a chameleon. They have very long tongues. You want to come up? He likes to come out a lot. And they have very long tongues, so they will get their food by whapping their tongue out at their prey. So they eat a lot of insects. They're an insectivorous animal here. Okay, so he eats crickets, he eats hornworms, he eats super mealworms. He can eat lots of other types of bugs like that too. The important thing with chameleons are, if you have one in captivity like I do here, that you don't give them insects from the outside world. So I wouldn't go out in my garden and pick up bugs there and bring them back for him. I buy commercial insects. And the reason why is because insects that are outside could have toxicity to them. They could have eaten something that could be toxic, or they could have also toxicity of maybe insect spray or something, you know, from pesticides and that too within their system. And so you just want to be careful because, you know, they're an expensive animal. These cost a lot of money. And you want to maintain their health. And so you buy commercial insects to feed them, and then you feed those insects too. So I actually maintain 4 different kinds of colonies of insects. You're not going to fall here.
There you go.
And I maintain colonies of insects so that they are here. You put back inside your cage here. And so that they eat only the best to give them the best health they can have. So, you know, calcium is really important for all animals. Calcium is very important. And so you dust them with calcium too, and with minerals, things like that. There's a schedule you have on when you feed the insects to them. But this is called a panther chameleon. This is a male. Males are more brightly colored. Female are not as brightly colored. And you can see the eyes here. One of the cool things about his eyes, he can look 2 different directions at the same time with his eyes. So one eye can be looking up, one eye can be looking down. And then they have these really cool feet. You see how he reached with his feet there?
Yeah.
They have this kind of split kind of a foot there too, which is really, really cool. But they go very slow, methodically when they move too. So I'm going to go ahead and shut his cage up. He's going to want to try getting out again.
He's so elegant.
We take him out a lot. He's some chameleons are not like that, but he is definitely like that. And then I've got another chameleon here, and this is a veiled chameleon. So I don't know if you can kind of see him. Oops.
Oh yeah, there he is.
See him over here. He's a veiled chameleon.
He's got a nice leaf in front of his eyes. Oh, hello.
You can see his big kind of cone head thing here he's got, okay? And so this is called a veiled chameleon. And you see how well he blends in. I've got live plants in here and some fake plants too. But you can see how well he blends in with the striping he has on him. He blends very well into his environment. And this one is, this particular species, the veiled chameleon, is from Yemen. So you find chameleons in Africa, Madagascar, which is an island off of Africa, and in the, I think it's the Arabian Sea there. And then around that area too, on the other side into the Middle East, you'll find them as well. And they can live in desert areas. They can, you know, low scrublands, things like that. But they like tropical areas too. So moisture is an important thing. So he's got a dripping system here. You can see the water thing I have down here, a water dish down there. And then I have a dripping system up here that drips his water, that little black thing there drips water into his cage there. So, and he's got a pretty big cage here around it because he's a big guy. But those are my 2 chameleons I have. And then I also have some tarantulas. Oh. And I also have some geckos. So I'll show you a gecko now. This is a crested gecko. It's my crested gecko right there.
That's who was trying to say.
That's a crested gecko. Crested gecko also has, maybe see I can get him out here. Crested gecko has what's called a prehensile tail as well. Come here. He's
like, no, I'm good.
Yeah. Usually I can get him out pretty easily, but he's kind of got himself here. Come here. Get him out. Get my right hand. You got to be careful with these guys though, because they're this particular type of gecko. If they lose their tail, it will not grow back. So I'm not going to pull on it. Come here. Let go with that tail. Let go.
Oh.
Come on. Let go. I can't pull because if I pull, I can pull the tail. So this is called a crested gecko. And this one reminds me of the movie with Toothless the dragon from How to Train.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of has a face like that little dragon. So yeah, got a cute little face on here. This is like I said, a crested gecko. And there you go.
Yeah, he's here.
And the way you keep them, you don't have to have any special lighting for them. But I have them in a very tall. You can see a tall aquarium. It's on its side. So it's tall instead of long, because they're arboreal too. They like to climb up high and everything else. And then they have their food down here, and then there's water over here for them too. This is a piece of cork there. So they have all the things that they need. And I mist it twice a day for them, so it keeps it nice and moist and stuff like that. But that's a crested gecko. I've got 4 different kinds of geckos. I have another kind of gecko over here, if I can find it right now, that is called, oh, right over here.
Oh, there he is.
Chihuahua gecko, if I can see, it's right over in here. Let me see if I can get him. Here you come. Oh, there it goes. Okay, come here.
Hello.
This is a Chihuahua gecko. Come here, honey. Come here. They usually come out very easily. I don't know why.
So funny tonight. Oh my goodness.
So this is a Chihuahua gecko.
Hi.
And you see crawling on my arm right now there. Okay. And let me put it in here. I'll come back over this way and show it to you. Whoops. Watch out for the wires here. Let me put this down for a second here. Okay. So here I will get him off my neck. Grab my neck, honey. Come here. Okay. Ouch. There we go. All right. So this is a Chihuahua gecko. And the coloring on it, I'm going to put it back behind over here again. You can see the coloring on it. It's kind of got green, and you can see kind of green, and then also some kind of mauve-y kind of colors too. You can see the eyes. Now the thing about this particular gecko and a lot of other geckos too, in the gecko species, they don't have eyelids. So they don't close their eyes. So the eyes stay open all the time, so you can't really tell if they're sleeping or not. And you see a little nose, you see a little nostril right there, a little black dot there, that's its nostril. The feet are sticky, okay? And you notice how when he moves, they peel their feet up. So you see how they put their feet down, they peel them up there. So they've got these little sticky feet. And this one is gonna get bigger. This is only, it's less than a year old right now. It will get bigger. But these guys also can eat crickets, they don't like any other bug I've given them so far. Crickets are the only thing they've actually liked, but they also eat prepared food too that you put in there for them. But they do like to hunt, so I put crickets in there for them to hunt, and I've actually hand-fed it some crickets too sometimes, so they'll hand feed for me as well. But they're very gentle and all that. Now this particular one is called a Chihuahua gecko. It's in the Rhactodactylus family. There's different families in the gecko family too, but this is from the larger one. The largest kind of gecko is called a Lechiana. And the larger the gecko, and the more rare they are, the more expensive they are. So if you go to buy one as a pet, the crested geckos can run anywhere like around $40 or a little bit more, depending on what colors they are and stuff like that. They can get a little more pricey, $40, $60, but they can get up to a couple $100 too. This one starts with, as a baby, about $500.
Wow.
So these are much, because they're going to get larger. This one's supposed to get very large. And then there's, I have another kind of gecko. The best one to start off with though, for the people who are watching this, the best kind of gecko as a first pet would be a leopard gecko. And I have one of those too, I can show you. So I'll take my video camera here. I'm gonna turn the audio on this one here so that we can see the, here. Unmute, and let me go. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna put this one away. All right. Put you away there and make sure I close my things up. Okay. All right. So I'm going to take you to my leopard gecko. All right.
Ooh, wow. Look at
my
this.
game room has now become a animal room. So let me show you my leopard gecko. I'm going to go down here. Whoop, wrong way. Okay. And I'm going to show you a leopard gecko. Come here. Okay. Oh, and let's see here, lighting wise. Okay, so this is, let me take you over here. This is a leopard gecko.
Wow.
Right, oh, I don't know if I can show you. Hang on, my camera's not working very well here. Okay,
all right.
Let me see if I can get it to move.
You've got to handle a lot at the same time.
All right, I'm gonna bring him over here. Bring him back in here because I think, okay. I'm having a hard time holding an animal and at the same time here. So let's go back to here.
Absolutely.
I'm going to turn this off. All right, so this is a leopard gecko. So if you want to come back to this other screen here. Whoa, what are you being so excited about? This is a leopard gecko right here, okay? And you can see it's got spots all over it. It's different as far as my other geckos go because number one, it has eyelids. You're all excited. Where are you going? It has eyelids. And it also does not have the same kind of feet. The feet of the leopard gecko, you can see a little foot right there, okay,
Yeah.
does not have the same wideness and webbing that the other ones have. So their feet aren't sticky. And that's okay, because when the environment that they live in, they live on the ground and they live in a desert, sandy kind of rocky area. And because of that, they have some different things. They have eyelids because, of course, the sand would be abrasive and all that, so they can close their eyes when it's the winds are blowing. And they can climb rocks and everything else too, and climb around and dig too in their environment, but they don't need those sticky feet because they don't have things that they're climbing up, and they're not living arboreally. They're living on the ground, terrestrial. Another thing about this gecko, they have fat tails.
Yeah.
So anytime you see a fat tail kind of gecko, these are going to be geckos that are going to live on the ground. And this is a storage way of storing supplies for that. So when they eat, they can store their fat in here. And when things are rough and there's no insects around, they can use this to live off of. So it's a way they store their food. And so that's really important for them living in a desert environment. So when you look at an animal, I guess what I want kids to take away from this, people take away from this, when you look at an animal, you can, when you start to see like key things on animals, you can start to learn things about them. So if you never saw this animal before, and you saw it for the very first time, and you notice the skin on it, and that, you could start to make some inferences about it. You could say, well, you know, it's going to blend into something like this. So what would it be? Like rocks and sand, because it has that kind of look to it, and that. And then, of course, you know, because it has that storage area there, it's going to live in a climate where it's not going to be able to get food all the time, and that. Now, reptiles, this is a reptile, shed their skin. All reptiles can shed their skin, except for when we talk turtles and stuff. But other kinds like snakes and lizards shed their skin. This one will shed its skin all at once, and it will pop off all at one time. I had a shed skin. I don't think I have it anymore. But their whole skin pops off at one time, and they do something really weird. They eat their skin.
Ooh.
Yeah, they'll eat it. And the reason why they eat it is for two reasons, actually. One, it's a protein source. But the other reason why they eat it is because it gets rid of the evidence. So if there's a predator around, they won't know that they're there. They eat the skin, that they don't leave evidence that they're around. And that helps against predators. Because every animal, and this is the one thing too that I want people to take away from this. Every animal that lives in the wild, when they wake up and are going out for the day to go, you know, do something, they have two things on their mind. One thing is find food and water. Okay, they have to survive, find food and water, like us, right? Got to eat and drink. And the other thing is avoid becoming food. Okay, that's the other thing too. So find food, avoid becoming food. Now there are predators, apex predators. It means they're at the top of the food chain. They don't have to worry as much about that, you know, not becoming food. But most animals have something that predates on them. So they may be a predator, but they also have something that thinks of them as prey too. And so it's a really rough world out for them. Almost every animal has to always be concerned with what's going to try to eat them, okay? And so they have different kind of defense mechanisms. And so this particular animal, its defense mechanism is this. If an animal does try to get at it, it will grab the tail. If it's running away, the thing we'll see is a tail. If it grabs this tail, it will break off. There are segments here. It'll break off, and the tail that's left behind with the animal will start twitching around, keeping that animal's attention so that they will not go after it, and the animal can make the escape, and the tail will be eaten by that animal maybe, or maybe they'll leave it there too. But this animal will make its escape. So a lot of lizards can break off part of their tail and it will grow back, and I've seen that. Tarantulas, and I have tarantulas here too. I don't know if we have time to take them out or not at this point.
You know, it's up to you. However much time you want to give us, I'm sure people are. Okay.
Well, hey, Dan, if I can get my husband to come back here, I got to put him away. But even tarantulas, I have 2 tarantulas. They have a way of getting away too. What they will do is they will kick hairs off their back, off their abdomen, and those hairs will go flying through the air, and they'll get in the eyes or the air passages of the animal that's coming after them and disable them enough that the animal can make its escape. So that spraying of hairs, and then we've got skunks, they spray a scent. So lots of animals have something they can put something out, or they can leave something behind, but anything they can do to save their life, to get away from that animal. If they can't fly and they have to run, but like again, this animal can run, but a fox can be faster than it. It's bigger. It can move at, you know, greater speed and distances than it too. So being able to leave something behind and important. So again, it's a dog eat dog world out there, and animals have to have ways of surviving. So when you do research about an animal, when you think about a pet, you know, look at all the different things about them. How do they survive in the wild? What are their mechanisms for survival? Of course, bats can fly away. That's how they can get away. They can fly. But some animals have to do other things, like, you know, break off their tails or spray their hairs or spray a scent or whatever it may be. And so that's what it does. And it breaks off part of that tail, but it does grow back. Anyway, my husband has disappeared on me, so I don't know where he's at. So let me go back to, let's see, what else can I show you? I do have tarantulas to show you, but I have to, okay, I can put it here in this here. Okay. I can temporarily house it in here. It'll be okay for a few minutes while I get a tarantula out. There you go. Go in there for a second.
I do have a skunk question too when we come back around
to my skunks too. All right, go ahead and ask the question while I grab a skunk. Go ahead and ask the question.
Okay, so the skunk question is from Terry, and she wants to know, every children's book I read, that she's a children's librarian, P.S., every children's book I read that features a skunk focuses on the bad smell. Isn't it disappointing that skunks get such a bad rap?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's it. Everyone thinks if they see a skunk, and first thing is they want to block their nose, pewee, and all that kind of thing. So let me tell you a little bit about skunks. So skunks, of course, they live in our environment. They're outside of in our neighborhoods and things like that. Now, I live in a very wooded neighborhood in New Lenox, and I have not seen a wild skunk in my neighborhood. I've seen everything else, possums and raccoons, deer, you name it, muskrat and that, but never a skunk. But they're here, they're somewhere around, but they're very elusive. You don't see them often, but if I do see them, more than likely they're going to be dead on the road because they get hit by cars a lot.
Oh.
That's like a bad problem for them. And their natural predator, if it weren't for cars, are owls. The great horned owl eats a lot of animals like baby skunks, baby possums, baby raccoons. You know, they're big animals, so big birds, and they eat a lot of baby animals. They'll eat anything. They'll even eat a skunk because birds of prey like that don't have a great sense of smell, and so they will go after a skunk. They don't care if they get sprayed; it doesn't bother them because their sense of smell is not that great. But anyway, all right. So what's good about skunks? Okay, there's a lot of good things about skunks. Number one, they make really great pets. But unfortunately, Illinois does not allow us to have them as pets. But there are there were 19 states. I'm not sure about the number right now because some states have not allowed it and some states have joined on. But there were about 19 states that allow them as pets. Indiana allows them as a pet. Wisconsin does too. Iowa, Ohio, Minnesota, I believe too. Kentucky's considering it. All around us, but not Illinois right now. One of the reasons why Illinois doesn't is that there has been cases of rabies. They're a mammal. They can get rabies, okay? But we have not had a rabid skunk in well over 10 years in Illinois. So they're not getting it right now. But they can get distemper like a cat. So that's something you want to get a shot for. So this is Maxie. Maxie has a distemper shot. She also has a rabies vaccination just to be on the safe side. Although the rabies vaccination is not made specifically for skunks, my vet still gave it to her. It's a cat one. But what do skunks do for us in our neighborhoods is they eat a lot of things like grubs. They eat lots of bugs. So they will dig up the beetle larva, which is a grub, and out of yards and eat those, which are nasty. They kill our lawns. So grubs are nasty things like that. They kill our lawns. So they eat those. They'll eat mice. Farmers who have granaries love skunks because a cat will see a mouse running and chase after it, but a skunk will actually go to where the baby mice are at and dig them out and eat them. Whoa. So they will go a step beyond what a cat will do, and they'll really get rid of the mice. So they're really good at getting mice off of farms and that for farmers. So they love to have skunks around. Anyway, but they have big digging claws. You can see her claws right there, okay? Yeah. They've got big digging claws, okay? And I do trim their nails because they can get really, really long, but they have nice digging claws. And so they can dig out dens for themselves, but they can dig out any kind of bug. They have very sharp teeth. You want to show your teeth, Maxie? you show your teeth? Huh? You see your teeth
Oh
there?
my goodness,
Yeah.
yes. Look at those.
Yeah,
Look at those
just like
peppers.
a cat or a dog, you know, has the same kind of teeth like a cat or
Yeah.
dog has, you know, they have the canines like that too. Their nose, they've got a really good sense of smell. You see that big nose on their face, okay?
Yeah.
Their eyes are kind of smaller, you know, as far as their body goes, they're kind of small. So their eyesight, they can see about 10 feet out, then after that it gets a little blurry in that. But so they're really relying on their sense of smell. That's their greatest sense. And they've got good hearing too. So hearing and sense of smell are their best senses, and then their eyes, they can still see, but not that great, you know, 10 feet out they can't. And then yeah, you're a good girl. But they're very affectionate, really. They're wonderful. They as far as food goes, you know, they are an omnivore. So we feed them for breakfast. They get a dog kibble. It's a high quality grain-free dog kibble that gives them a lot of good things, a lot of good vitamins and all that. But for dinner, they get a gourmet meal. So my husband cooks for them at nighttime. I do the bats, he does the skunks. So he makes zucchini and broccoli and carrots and kale. He shreds all of that up, sautés it, puts a couple eggs in there for them, and then some pumpkin seeds, you like that, and then their vitamins go in there. So they get milk thistle, they get a chondroitin type of drug in there, medicine too, that's for joint health and everything. They get added calcium to that too, and they love that. And then they get almonds for treats. There's their favorite nut is an almond. And so they get that for treats sometimes, but and they love bugs too. So every once in a while they get a hornworm from me. I'll have hornworms, they'll get really big and my other animals won't eat them, so they'll get a hornworm, or they get mealworms sometimes, yeah, and they get some crickets sometimes too. They love them as well, but they're big bug eaters, okay? But this animal is, they're awesome. They're my favorite animal. My first skunk, Baxter, he'd sit on the couch with me and cuddle and everything else. They're great. And again, like I said, people have them as pets. But you have to buy them from a licensed breeder. You don't just pick them up from the wild because you don't know what they have. So you pick them, you buy them from a licensed breeder. They descent them. Skunks have a gland in their tail. They've got 2 glands in their anus. And those 2 glands are what have that smell in them. And so when they first see something, like if you came upon a skunk, you came out of your house, you saw a skunk, it would not spray you. More than likely it wouldn't spray you because if you stopped and stood still, they would just like look at you and they'd walk away. If they felt that you were threatening to them, they would puff themselves up. They put the tail, you know, they put the tail up in the air, puff their body up, make themselves look big, and they would stomp, and then they would and if you kept on coming at them, then they would turn around and spray. The spray can go about 10 feet out. Wow. Again, it's noxious. We all have smelled skunk spray at one time in our life, and it's pretty smelly stuff. Some people like it though. And actually with skunk spray, they actually put very fancy French perfumes actually use a little bit of that skunk spray stuff in the perfume. It's added to fancy French perfumes, yeah, and that. But there is if your dog does get sprayed, there's a recipe online. It contains Dawn dish liquid, hydrogen peroxide, and also baking soda. And what happens with that chemical combination, the Dawn dish liquid's really important because the spray has oils in it. You want to release those oils from the fabric or from your dog's fur or whatever. And that's what Dawn dish liquid does. It releases those oils. And then the hydrogen peroxide and baking soda neutralize them. And so that's a really good chemical combination that will effectively, better than don't use tomato juice, use this new recipe that they've come up with. It really works very, very well. But my skunks have been descented. They don't spray, so that can't happen for them. They go potty in a box. They have a litter box they go into. They back up into a corner, and that's where the box is, so they go potty in that. And they're real cuddly. You can see they like to have their face rubbed, yeah, and they'll cuddle with you. You know, they're very sweet animals. So you can see how she's just real docile and cute and everything else, aren't you? Yes, yeah. You are. Yeah, they're my favorite. But anyway, so yeah, so but I've got my bats, I've got my different types of possums, I've got my skunks, I've got 4 different kinds of skunks. They come in different colors. What that is just a matter of dominant genes, the black and white being dominant. I've got a beige and white one. I've got a brown and white one as well too. And that's just a non-dominant color that can be expressed sometimes. So her brother actually is beige and white. So that can happen. Just like we can have Labrador retrievers or golden retriever, well, Labrador retrievers that can come in 3 different colors. Same thing with them too. They can do that as well, but they can be bred for those colors. So anyway, but basically, you know, my big thing with doing animal education is to let people understand about these animals, to know that they all have a place in our environment. They all do something for the environment. Another thing that skunks and possums do is they eat carrion. They eat dead animals. They clean up the environment that way. Possums will also eat ticks, about 5,000 ticks per season. That grooming tool that's on their back foot, that tool that I told you is like right here between their thumb and their finger, they can groom themselves and get ticks off of themselves. And because they're dragging it along the ground, their body drags on the ground, they can pick up a lot of ticks in your yard, but then they'll groom them off of themselves and eat them. So they're like a tick vacuum, basically, you know? And so if you have a possum in your yard and you've got dogs, keep that possum around, because it's going to help keep ticks away from your dogs, you know, and that. But between possums and skunks, they're not nocturnal animals. That's a new thing that we're learning about them. They're actually what we call crepuscular animals. That means active at dawn and dusk. So we're diurnal, daytime. Bats are nocturnal. So are the sugar gliders, and so is ginger. But Ollie would be more crepuscular, active at that dawn and dusk. So they're really like late part of the nighttime. They would go back to their den for a while, then they come back out again in the morning before the sun rises, or right around the time when the sun is rising, and they would hunt again and try to get more food at that time. But then during the heat of the day, they're going to be in their dens where it's cooler, underground if they can, and staying cool if it's summertime, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Allie's sleeping right now, but if they're not sleeping, they're eating. That's pretty much sleeping, eating, and going to the bathroom. That's like the big things that they do, you know.
He's back in his little pod.
Yeah, he loves his pod. I've got 2 of them. He loves his pods. So yeah, but no, so they're a lot of work, but they're also a joy too. And I love sharing them with other people, because you know, not many people can say they held a possum or a skunk for that matter. And I love sharing my animals, letting people hold them, and learning more about them, appreciating them, you know, because when we look at our environment, you know, every animal serves a purpose. And you know, there's so many things that they do for us that if they weren't there, our world would be very different. For instance, scientists say if you took all the bats out of the world, that our world would become uninhabitable, because bugs would take over. Bugs would eat all of our food sources, and then they would become so plentiful that we'd be swimming in bugs, and we would cease to exist then, you know. So so it's really important that we have balanced ecosystems, that we you know, don't remove our predators, our apex predators, because they help keep things in check, like our deer, things like that. And it's just important to know about your environment and appreciate the animals, and don't just think, you know, like even spiders. You know, I've got my tarantulas. I'll show you one tarantula before we leave here. Let me show you get my one tarantula down here. Sorry. So even tarantulas, even spiders. This is my tarantula cage here. Okay, you can see.
Oh my goodness! Hello.
I'm gonna take her out though. I bought a new type of a caging for her. It's a low level one, because they're not they don't climb. This one doesn't climb, and so I have to slide the top off here. And I actually handle her, so I'll take her out and I'll handle her. Come here, honey. Come here. Come here. It's okay. Come here. Here we go. All right. So this is called a Mexican red-knee tarantula. Okay, you can see her there.
Oh my gosh.
And she actually lost 2 legs a while back. She was molting, and she lost 2 of her legs, but you can't see that they're gone anymore because she's grown them back.
Oh,
so
wow.
So there are about 40,000 different kinds of spiders in the world. Tarantulas, about 900 of them. And I gotta put her cage down here without dropping it here. Let me put it down there. Okay, I can have 2 hands here. So about 900 different kinds of tarantulas. The largest one being the Goliath tarantula, about the size of a dinner plate, and they live in South America. They're also called the bird-eating tarantula because they eat larger prey. But anyway, this is a Mexican red-knee tarantula. So you can see the pretty color she has on her. She's black with that like kind of orangish there. They can be, so depending upon the tarantula, I mean, within this species itself, the legs can be a little darker, a little lighter, just, you know, the variations like we have with our hair variations and stuff. But anyway, they have two main body parts. They have their abdomen, and then this is called a cephalothorax there. So an abdomen and a cephalothorax, okay? And then the eyes are on top where the little line is. If I can show you, let me see if I can get her over here. Hang on, okay. Yeah, over there. All right, so that little line is, if you can show the other camera for
switch that over here. There we go.
Yeah. So you see the little line there, and you can see like right in the middle, there's like two dots. You see those dots? Those are her eyes.
Yeah. Okay. Oh my gosh.
Her eyes there, the top of that, where that little line is up there. Yeah, her eyes are up there. And then right above that line, those are where her fangs are. And then she's got, above where the fangs are, there's two little legs. Those are called pedipalps. And they're like hands. So she's got 8 legs and then these 2 pedipalps, okay? And then you can see her abdomen. She's got a nice big bulbous abdomen there. Now, her whole outside is a skeleton. So we call that an exoskeleton. We are a vertebrate animal. We've got an internal skeleton with vertebrae. This does not. This has its whole skeleton is the outside of its body. So when they grow, they have to shed all of that. And so what will happen is that top of the cephalothorax will pop off like a hatch, and she will come out of that, leaving everything you see behind.
Wow.
What happens with the abdomen, when the new abdomen comes out of that, it'll just deflate, okay? So it'll get really flat, but the legs will look like they do still, but they're very fragile. You can very easily smash it then once she comes out of the whole thing. Now, when they come out of it, they could have a problem, and she did one time about 1.5 years ago. She lost 2 of her legs when she was molting, but they grew completely back now. Took her about 4 molts for them to grow back to complete big size right now. It's actually the one that I'm like on the finger that I'm moving right now. Those 2 are her newer legs. They're a little bit smaller. They may take 1 more growth to become fully the same size as the ones by my thumb. But anyway, but that's and she's a female too. So females live longer. They can live 20 to 25 years. Isn't that amazing?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's a really long time. Males live maximum 10 years, but typically around 7 years. But females can live lots longer. And of course, this is an animal that you would never put with another spider. They don't want a friend. They'd eat their friend, or their friend would eat them, okay? So you don't keep 2 together. They stay by themselves. They're solitary animals. So there's a lot to learn, when you go to have one of these as a pet. So if any of the people watching this want to, get one of these animals as a pet, you got to do lots of good research, and of course, the best place to start is your library. Every library, if you want to find out about them as a pet, you're going to go to your 636 section of your nonfiction section, right? Because that's where, Katie, that's where you have your pet nonfiction, right? $5.99 will give you your animals, like you can see tarantulas there, but 636 is where you're going to find out about them as pets. Also, the internet too. There's a lot of good videos. There's a Pets 101 series on YouTube, and they have skunks on that. They have spiders on it too. So that's a good channel to go to, is the Pets 101 series. They give you a little overview of the animals. But again, you're going to want to do a lot of research, like what do they eat? What kind of housing do they need? And that. And you can't just handle any tarantula either. So this tarantula actually has a very mild venom. If it were to bite me, the venom would not harm me. I'm not allergic to it. If I was allergic to it, it'd be a different story, but I'm not allergic to it. And it would feel like a bad bee sting, but it wouldn't harm me. But she's not one to just, bite. She's not aggressive. And so this is a really good first kind of spider to have as a pet. The Chilean rose hair is also a good one. The Honduran curly hair is another really good one too. I have had all 3 of them. I have a curly hair now too, but my Chilean, I don't have that one anymore. I need to get a new one of those. But so anyway, they eat, these guys eat crickets. They'll also eat dubia roaches too. And sometimes a hornworm, but that's not their favorite thing to eat, but sometimes they'll eat a hornworm too. But but crickets. And of course, you got to feed the crickets. You got to dust the crickets with good stuff and give them water as well. But they're pretty easy to take care of. They eat a couple crickets a week. The really important thing about them, though, because they do shed their skin, is not to keep the crickets in there. So if you put a cricket in there and it doesn't eat it after about an hour or so before, take it out. Because if they molt while crickets are in their cage, in their enclosure, they're very vulnerable after they molt. You can't touch them after they molt. You got to give them about 10 days before you feed them again or you touch them, because they're very fragile at that time. Their skin their outside has to harden, and a cricket could actually eat them because they're too vulnerable. So you be very careful. Another really cool thing about tarantulas are their feet. Okay. So I don't know if we could see the foot. If I get closer here, let me go over here.
Oh my goodness, with cute little foot.
Stay muted here. Okay. I'm going to see if I can get closer to the feet there. I don't know if I can or not. Well, anyway, the foot actually has 2 toes and has 2 nails. And so when they go to put their foot down, their toes spread and their nails come out. And I don't know if we could see that on this one or not. But they have 2 toes and 2 nails. And their nails have, you can see like over here.
Oh, wow.
It's kind of staying attached there because the nails are kind of hooking in.
Yeah.
Hooks for nails there. Okay.
Oh, how funny. Oh my gosh.
But they're really cool animals too. And spiders do a lot of good for us. You know, they go back to this other camera now. They eat lots and lots of bugs. Okay. And again, nighttime insects, a lot of them, but it's also daytime insects too, depending upon the kind of spiders. And again, 40,000 different species of spiders. And there are some, of course, that are highly venomous, not poisonous. So poison is something that you would ingest, okay, so like a plant, but if something bites you and injects, that's venomous, okay? And so spiders are venomous animals. All spiders have a venom, but most of the spiders, their venom wouldn't harm you. The only venomous spiders in Illinois that could bother you are the black widow and the brown recluse. And I have been in Illinois all my life. Be 60 years this year. I've never seen either one of those spiders in the wild, and I've been around a lot of places, so they're very rare. You don't see them very often. Brown recluse especially, they like very dark places. I've had 2 friends bitten by brown recluses, but both of them, my friends worked at the Dresden power plant, and they were down in the deep, like depths of the Dresden power plant, and that's where these spiders like to be, in dark places, down deep, and they both got bitten by it, and they had to go to a doctor, of course, because the venom is toxic, and can poison the blood. So they both got help and they were fine. But so yeah, but you just want to be careful, you know. Spiders, like I said, there's no reason to kill a spider. I'm a catch and release kind of gal. I find a spider, I scoop it up, I release it back outside, because they do a lot of good. They eat a lot of bugs, so they're really important to have around. And I think it says that one spider can eat about 50,000 insects in a year's time. You know, they do a lot of amazing things for us. If you see an empty like spider, you know, you see like a thing, that it's not really a dead spider, that's their shell. So when you see a spider skin kind of hanging out there, they've shed that. That's their exoskeleton. They've shed that. So they shed to grow. Yeah, they shed to grow. Wow. So they're just another really cool animal. So yeah, I've got
gentle.
Yeah.
Great. What's her name? Does she have a name?
Her name. So this is my Rose here. So her name is Rosalita. And then I have my Honduran curly hair is Carmelita. And so because they're both from Spanish areas, you know.
Yeah,
so
keeping their heritage.
Rosalita and Carmelita. And they're but yeah, Mexican red knee. So these are native to Mexico. And the Honduran curly hair would be native to Honduras, which is Central America. And so these are both terrestrial ones, but then there are arboreal ones. There's a really cool one called the pink-toed tarantula, and those are also a good one for a pet too, but they're arboreal, so they need to be in a tall caging instead of a flat caging like she's in.
Okay.
But some tarantulas that you can buy are aggressive. The ones that are really brightly colored, there's a blue, like cobalt blue tarantula, highly aggressive. You cannot put your hand in their enclosure. So with them, you have to, you gotta be an expert with spiders to have those kind of spiders, because they can bite you very easily, and their venom is a little more toxic too, and that as well. So you gotta be really careful with them. So to have them in their environment, you've got to be able to, it takes a lot more knowledge about spiders to have them. I don't want that kind of spider. I want ones I can handle and show to the public. So that's what I have, the Mexican red knee, and I have the Honduran curly hair. So
sometimes they have
all
really
of my animals, I try to get friendly ones. Huh?
Oh, I said sometimes they have really cute little faces too. All their eyes, they're really cute.
Yeah, she's got a cute little face there, yeah. But what really cute ones are the jumping spiders. They have really cute little faces, and there's a couple on, like, there's one that's on Instagram that she like puts in little costumes and everything
Yeah,
else.
yes, that's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And there's some really cool jumping spiders too. There's ones that do little dances that like part of their body comes up in their little back end, they get their abdomen, they wave it around and do
Oh
little
my
dances and
goodness.
stuff. And it's a peacock one. I think there's a peacock jumping spider. It's really a pretty one. So
Wow.
yeah, but they come in some really beautiful colors and beautiful patterns. Like this one has a beautiful pattern on it and everything else.
Yeah.
But she can be quick too, so I gotta be really careful with her, because if she jumps out of my hand, runs out of my hand, and lands on the ground, this is all hard. The skeleton's all hard. It could crack and it would kill her. So you be very careful with them too, handling them. That's why I've got her over my computer. So if she fell off my hand, she'd be on my computer and she wouldn't get hurt. But I gotta be careful handling them.
We do
But
have a
and I have to be
question
careful
here.
too when I'm talking, pop peas on her, because that can make her get scared too. Yeah.
Oh no, yeah.
Yeah. But
We have a
I
question.
will love to be invited when we can, when all this is over, COVID's over,
Yes,
and we
we'd
get
love to
back
have you.
face to face again. I would love to have your audience, your patrons, come to the library and get to handle my animals. They can hold my tarantula, they can pet my skunk and hold my skunk and all that too. And so yeah, so I'm gonna look forward to that time when we can actually be face to face again and see the animals. So I appreciate everybody watching this, and
Thank you.
it's harder for me doing this kind of thing. I like being face to face, but
You have time for one more quick question. Somebody just
of
popped
course.
one in here. Maggie is curious, what eats tarantulas, and do Goliath bird-eating spiders eat birds?
Do the Goliath
Your question.
tarantulas, she said?
Yeah,
They
Goliath
can eat birds and bats. The Goliath tarantula can eat birds. That's why they also call the bird-eating tarantula. It's as big as a dinner plate, and it can stealthily climb up and then pounce on the bird or the bat and inject it and eat it. Yes, they do eat birds.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
What
What eats
animals eat
spiders?
tarantulas?
Well,
Yeah.
they're actually, it's weird. So with bats, so bats can eat spiders. There's some bats that eat spiders, but there are some spiders that eat bats. And then birds can eat spiders too. So when the spider feels something like coming down at it like this, like a bird coming down at it to get it, or another animal pouncing on it, they can feel that wind. Their hairs are very sensitive. So what they'll do is they will use these two back legs and they will kick hairs off that abdomen, send them off into the air as a way of getting away from the predator, But they're like coyotes can eat them. There's different animals that can eat them. But birds and other, even like a skunk, there are hognose skunks that live in Mexico and in Central South America. There are 12 species of skunks. I don't think I told you guys that. There are striped skunks. There's 4 different kinds of striped skunks. They live around North America. And then there are striped skunks. That's the Mephitis mephitis. That's the predominant skunk. There's a hooded skunk that looks like the striped skunk, but it's got one solid big white stripe in the back, not 2 broken ones.
Okay.
So there's hooded skunks, striped skunks, and then there's 4 different kinds of spotted skunks, and then there's 4 different kinds of hooded skunks. And they live hognose skunks. And they live down in Central and South America. So all of the Americas have skunks. And then there are 2 skunks that live in the Philippine area, one on the islands around the Philippines, in the Indonesian Ocean. And they're called stink badgers. But then there are other animals that are like a skunk, but they say they're not a skunk. So there's an animal in Africa called the zorilla. And the Blue Stem book that was called Lesser Spotted Animals, that was on the Blue Stem list last year? It talks about the zorilla. It looks like a skunk, it sprays like a skunk, but they say it's not a skunk. And I don't know why. I have not been able to find out why they don't classify it. There has to be some reason, maybe the teeth or I don't know what, but they don't classify it as a skunk, although it sprays. So there's a couple other animals like that. There's other animals that spray too, other than skunks. But so skunks, most of them live in the Americas though. And but there's my little spider again there. But all animals have a self-defense mechanism, something they can do. They can either run fast, they can jump fast, they can climb, they can glide, they can fly, but they either can do fight or flight. And most animals want to do flight. They want to get away, and sometimes they have to spray something or shed something or let part of their tail go to get away from a predator. And it's cool learning about that, learning about what is the predator that eats that animal. So there's lots of things to study, and with school being the way it is going to be this year for most Illinois kids, where they're going to have to start, I'm a school teacher, where they're going to have to start the year off whereas being at home.
Yeah.
Great time for them. Great time for them to do a little more in-depth study. And libraries are open, right? Your library is open, right?
Yes, we are not open to the public, but we are open staff-wise. So we are there to answer questions, answer the phone, answer emails. If people need, homework help and things like that, research help, we're still here for all of that. They can put their books.
Can they pick up books to the drive-up window though?
So we have a curbside service. We're working on a drive-up window at some point, but we have, curbside pickup so they can place their holds.
Okay, so they can go online and order the books.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's, and yes, they can do that. And also I'm sure that you have audiobooks and ebooks too that they can use, don't you? Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
I take advantage of that. I'm listening to an audiobook right now about Hamilton. So I love ebooks and audiobooks. And so kids
so
take
easy.
advantage of that. Yeah, I'm a school librarian, so I love books. So
Love
so
it.
definitely take advantage of that. But when I'm not teaching about animals, I'm working in the school. So I'm, I like I said, but I love learning. I love learning, and the best way to learn is to read up on them. So.
Yeah.
And that's why I love my relationship with libraries like your library. So
Awesome.
I appreciate you having me on today.
Thank you.
And I look forward to when we can come in face to face.
Yes, I know. We were looking so forward to it in March. So it will happen, and we can't wait for that day. But
Me
yes,
too.
thank you so much for your time, your generous sharing of all of your sweet friends. And I hope everybody so enjoyed this. I know we're going to get so many viewers at home after, when we repost this video. People are going to be so excited. They're going to be talking all about this. So we so appreciate that. And it's such a special thing to give our patrons right now too. Well,
I appreciate it too. If they've got questions, you can email me. My email is incrediblebats@comcast.net. So incrediblebats with an S @comcast.net. They can email me. I can answer questions for them. I've got a website at incrediblebats.com, YouTube channel, and also on Facebook. I've got Incredible Bats and Incredible Skunks on Facebook, and I've got an Instagram account. So
you mentioned too, if people are looking to help support the animals right now, where can they go?
That's something, because not being able to come out and do my shows, I've lost a lot of my income that I use to feed my animals and vet care and everything else. So it's been a really tough year that way. Fortunately, I had a job as a teacher and I didn't lose my job, and I was still getting paid as a teacher and working. So I was able to lose my income to help, supplement them. But usually they pay for themselves, and this year.
Right.
So yeah. So I have a PayPal account. They can I think I gave you the information about my PayPal account. They can also, if they want to donate money towards the animals, they can do that.
Yeah.
Definitely. Or if they want to email me, I can give them that information as well too. But anything you can do to help would be greatly appreciated, because it's time for our annual visit for our bats, and that is a minimum of $500 when they come up to my house to do my inspection. So it gets quite costly doing animals, So yeah, that insurance and all that stuff and licensing, it's and feeding them.
Yeah, if they looked you up on PayPal, would it be incrediblebats@gmail or at Comcast?
It's at Gmail. Incrediblebats@gmail.com. Yeah.
Incrediblebats@gmail.com.
Yeah, exactly.
For questions and PayPal if you want to donate to the sweet little animals that you saw this evening.
And I'm also doing birthday parties, so I am doing small groups. It's legal to do that, like 10 people or whatever. So I am doing small groups. If they want to hire me to come out for like a birthday party or family gathering, I am doing small group get-togethers, and that in person. Outside. A lot of times it's outside, which we can still do. It's warm enough outside, but I am doing small gatherings right now. But
that's great. Okay, great. Well, I hope we have a lot of people emailing you to ask you great questions, and hopefully get you to come visit and help.
I look forward to that day, Katie. Definitely. I can't wait.
Thank you so much, Sharon. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye, buddies.
Okay. She can't wave, but
waving. She lifted her back leg. We got it.
Okay,
we got it.
Wave.
Bye.
All right. Take care. Okay. Bye-bye.